be a total gamble because I have no idea how that works live, is now going live as well. So
if to cut a man loose, cut the Twitter.
Yeah. If we have to cut one loose, we're going to cut Twitter. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are live-ish. Yes, we are live here at the Friday Night Movie podcast. And I would be cheating everyone if I did not get us going with the traditional way in which the Friday Night Movie podcast starts. So here it comes, ladies and gentlemen, the buttery intro with the buttery voice. Here we are, and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast, where I get together with my family, we make fun of each other, and we talk about movies and television. Today, I am joined by my two sisters, Lily and Becky. Lily is in the Canary Islands, and that's her with the big white background. And then my sister Becky is in Berkeley, California, with the blue background. Becky, wave hi to the live audience. And then we have with us in your bottom left quadrant, the legend himself, Stu Stein. Stu, it is incredible to have you here on the Friday Night Movie Podcast.
It is a pleasure to be here with you guys on the internet where I am from.
Yes, exactly. the internet, New York. Stu, I want to just fill you in a little bit on the history of the podcast, because I realize we have some awesome viewers here that have come just to see you, and I'd love to just fill them into the context here because there's people like Emily Rosenberg and AJ Fries and the Crunchy Toast. These names are amazing. Miss, you guys are all in the YouTube channel. It's a pleasure having you here. So Friday Night Movie is a podcast that I started with my siblings in a couple of years ago, and we live very far away from each other. We're really close, and we love movies and television. We call each other all the time and just argue about movies and TV. And one day I said, why don't we just turn this into a podcast? So this has become this incredible family project that has spanned a couple of years, tens of thousands of downloads, Comic-Con appearances, and now it has brought us all to this one moment live here with the legend himself, Stu Stein. Lily, Becky, how do we know Stu?
Lily, do you want to go first? Because we have two very different relationships with Stu.
I had the privilege of working for Stu
as a teen, and sort of,
which I would not say was my best look
in this legendary capacity throughout my teenage years. But it was only this past summer when I returned to TY to teach a film course that Stu and I actually got to know each other and become friends, and he so but you go first.
No, I did. I already went. You go.
Oh, that's it.
But there's so much more to tell of the story.
So we know Stu from working at TY, from being campers at TY and working at TY. Stu is the legend of camp, that legendary man of camp running the kitchen, and perhaps at times instilling fear in those of us trying to take advantage.
So generationally, I should just want everybody to know, no one in my generation has fear of Stu. It's really reverence for his humor and his running of the kitchen. So Stu is one of these transgenerational characters, because were you a camper at Sprout Lake as well?
Yeah, I was a camper starting in the 70s.
Yeah, so you were a camper at Sprout Lake, where all three of us went, and then you went on to have an illustrious career at Tel Yehuda.
It's very rare that you can use the word illustrious and career and camp in the same sentence.
Absolutely. And known not only for your culinary skills, but also for your great sense of humor. And I don't know how many people know this, but you had a stand-up career, correct?
This is right.
And we've committed to peeling back some of the layers of Stu Stein today. And so we're going to ask you a few questions about your stand-up career before we get into today's topic, which is, of course, food and movies and pop culture. And stand-up career. What inspired you to do stand-up? And tell us a little bit about those days.
So, like I said, I was at camp in the 70s, which means I was a teenager in the 80s. And the 1980s were absolutely the golden age, the glory days of stand-up comedy. There were comedy clubs popping up on every street corner, and it was on TV all the time. The HBO Young Comedian special got its start. I mean, I remember Robin Williams on the HBO Young Comedian special. And same thing, guys like Howie Mandel as a young comedian. And, he had hair. And
Howie Mandel, a Montrealer, where we grew up, by the way.
Good little, plug for Montreal. But
and Howie Mandel's hair.
Yep. And, so those guys inspired me. I wanted to do what they did. George Carlin as well. I wanted to be like them. And I just couldn't figure out how. I could not figure out for the life of me how to be funny on command. Because, I could throw out the funny line here and there and, do all sorts of random nonsense. But I couldn't be funny on command. And then in college, I saw a Billy Crystal movie called Mr. Saturday Night. And
I remember that movie. David Paymer, Billy Crystal.
Yes, they're brothers. And there's a line in that movie where Billy Crystal pulls something on his brother, on David Paymer, and he says, "Did you see what I did there?" And I was like, "Oh my God, yes, I saw what you did there. I get it." And it was like this epiphany. I kind of figured out how to be funny on command. And about a week or two later, there was an open mic at the college I was at. I was at Keene State, New Hampshire. And I was like, I'm going to go on. I'm going to do open mic before the professional comedian. And I was terrible. I was absolutely terrible. But I got one laugh and it was enough. And I went back the week later and a week later. And, at that point I was hooked. It wasn't just, it was what I wanted to do.
So
that's awesome. That's very brave.
Yeah, I think stand-up is the hardest art, right? Like we prepare a little bit for this show, but we don't objectively try to be funny. It's just natural when I say things and they sound stupid. My sisters make fun of them. The preparation that goes into stand-up and crafting your stories and your punchlines and the stories within the stories. Do you find that you have used that in other places of your life after the stand-up career finished?
Once you start being a stand-up comedian, you never stop being a stand-up comedian. It's a lifestyle. And it's for 10 years, I would wake up in the middle of the night and just write random nonsense down on pieces of paper next to my bed. And then I would wake up and I look at the paper and I'd be like, ask mother for milk. What the hell did that mean? But at 3:30 in the morning, that was the funniest thing ever. And I still have, that's actually one of the sheets I have from 19 years ago.
You're still trying to get to the bottom of that joke?
I want to finish the punchline. I got to remember. Got like a stack of them like this. But yeah, I mean, now I'm a high school teacher and my attitude is I do 5 shows a day. That it's all, I use everything that I learned doing stand-up. I mean, just now the audiences are less well-armed, but a little bit more drunk in some cases.
Oh, so we do have a bunch of your students are actually watching on YouTube. Another one named Emily Yucht. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but she just joined the chat. So shout out to her. I know that you are doing an amazing creative project with them. Do you want to give a shout out to that? We'll give you a chance at the end again, but since we're talking about high school, I know you're doing some amazing stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that. First of all, you should know that this is the first time any of them have heard that I was a stand-up comedian.
Oh, okay.
So,
there's going to be, you're going to hear a few other firsts here.
I wonder if some things are falling into place for them now that they know that they're, putting the puzzle pieces together.
All I can say is thank God my comedy career ended before YouTube began.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, my students that are on the YouTube page right now, we are all part of what's called Belmore Merrick Broadcasting. It is a 4-year major program of the Belmore Merrick High School District. We're based at Mepham High School. We've got 80 kids in the program, and they start freshman year, go all the way through to senior year, and they are creating content. We teach them how to use a camera, and then sophomore year becomes intro to broadcast journalism. And then they create shows. Normally, when there's no international pandemic going on, We've got a weekly show, The Morning Announcements, another one called Midweek Update. It's a news magazine. We've got a monthly sports talk, another monthly show that's called Talking Cookies. I think actually this show might actually fit with Talking Cookies.
Oh,
It's,
okay. Well, if you need us as guest appearances, now that we're celebrity,
we're available.
We
Absolutely.
in your high school.
Emily Rosenberg's the producer. She might contact you.
Well, Emily Rosenberg, we've seen you on YouTube. We're available. Everyone's available these days.
Yeah. And we also, sports and local school events, things like that. But what's really amazing now during the pandemic is we found out on Friday that on a Friday that we would be out of school. On the following Sunday, so 2 days later, the kids got together on their own without me. They got together and they created our weekly shows. They shot The Morning Announcements. They shot Midweek Update. I got a message that they were done and ready for air. And since then, we've now gone daily. The kids are producing daily coronavirus reports where we, try to a news package, a host talking about events going on in the district. We just posted one. I posted today is just about an hour before I came on with you guys. You can find them on the BMB, the Belmore Merrick Broadcasting YouTube channel. They created 2 PSAs. I've got a really funny kid who's creating tutorials, teaching kids around the district how to use distance learning platforms.
That's awesome.
It's incredible.
Can they teach my sisters about lighting and microphones?
Okay. This is a choice. I want to be clear. I work in film. This is a choice to be backlit. I purposely turned off my lights.
Noir.
It's a metaphor.
Opened the curtains because I wanted to be backlit because I don't need many details seen of this situation. Okay.
That's okay.
All right.
I went the
Why
other
is my
way.
microphone not good?
No, I'm totally joking, Lily. Remember the part where we make fun of each other? Your hair looks amazing. I want everybody to know that we were all FaceTiming with each other all the time. And I was FaceTiming with Lily regularly enough that I can sense differences in appearances. And my nephew, who usually has this like flowy hippie locks, like mane, my little Spanish speaking nephew, he's adorable. And I was on the phone with him yesterday and I said to Lily, Lil, did he cut his own hair? Because it looks like he took his scissors and just cut across his bangs.
Nope.
No, it turns out you did it.
It was me.
Amazing. He's going to look like the Canary Islands Joe Dirt, like very soon.
That's exactly what he looks like. It's terrible.
Joe Dirt. That's terrible.
Good look to go for.
Well, on Friday Night Movie, we talk movies and television, and today we're going to do something wild. We're going to take callers. We got a message from Josh Crew, by the way, one of our all-time great guests, who just said Lily's hair does look really well coiffed.
Well, I just showered. It was a shower situation. I figured it was worth it.
And so we're going to take callers. The numbers for the numbers to call are as follows. You can call country code 1 if you're listening from Israel or something like that. 312 area code 312-626-6799. Then here comes the really long meeting ID. That's 33-000-53624 and then pound. So
is this posted anywhere?
Yeah, it's posted in the it's posted. It's posted
Who writes
on the Facebook
down?
page. Anyways, so it is available. People can call in. We're going to take callers in a little bit. And so hopefully we'll get a couple of fun people call in. Now let us get
It's in the description of the live video.
It's in the description of the live video. So if you're
hang on, I just want to on our YouTube comments. Yes, we definitely want Stu's students calling in, guys. I can see you debating whether or not you should. Please call in.
Definitely call in.
Myself, Shy, and Lily so much joy if you call in.
Yeah.
Stu, I don't know about.
I want to.
It will also get them a failing grade.
Emily Rosenberg, we expect to hear from you.
Yes.
So
and just a quick shout out to Tamar Rothstein and Noah Wilker, who joined and are listening.
And Vanessa, cousin Vanessa, the famous cousin Vanessa, and
is she also listening?
Yeah,
right now?
she's watching on YouTube, and I think Josh Usheroff is there.
Nice.
We got like a lot of
Oh, there's a crew, and let's not
This is an
forget my mom.
international
Our mom
podcast.
is on, and she's calling every person who went to
She's-
Telehuda before 1970 and making them get. She's
She's
teaching
also
them all how to
writing-
use Zoom right now.
She's also writing all the comments.
Yeah,
which I love. It's the best.
if you guys want to pop over to the Facebook page. So let's get into our topic of the day. The topic of the day, and Beck, if you find a way to drop the phone numbers into the YouTube for new students while we do this, I would
do that.
greatly appreciate it. And so we talk about movies, and Stu, we could talk about coronavirus, but honestly, I'm starting to get sick of everybody talking about like quarantine life. So we're gonna transport ourselves to a simpler time, to a time when you were managing a group of what could only be described as like the Teamsters of Jewish summer camp, the kitchen mafia. I don't know. There's a lot of different names over the years.
Yeah,
And-
it depends on the year, actually.
Yeah. So actually, before we get into that, just the kitchen. Tell us like your riff on the kitchen at TY, one of the great traditions that my own father was in, however many years ago.
Yeah, your father, actually, I talked to him a couple times at the reunion last summer. He's got some great stories about life back in the day. I mean,
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we're not afraid. I wasn't afraid of you, is because my dad's ear sounded insane.
Well, and the time before, I mean, there was a guy I met last summer who told us a story about they had the head of a dead dog in the walk-in freezer at TY.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
What?
I wish that was my story.
The 60s? That's like the 60s, right?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
that it was the guy's dog they thought it had rabies, and he went out to his car to get his gun, which nobody has guns at camp, but in the 1960s, guns, bows and arrows, I don't know what else, but killed his own dog, severed its head, and left it in the walk-in so it could be tested for rabies. Turns out, no rabies. Dead dog, no rabies.
Okay. Mind
Well,
blown.
that's a new story.
That's a new one. News breaking right here.
I was blown away when I heard that story.
So let's talk culinary moments at camp and,
Right.
and movies. I've never heard of that happening in a movie, at least not in a summer camp movie. But
Not
if
yet,
you-
but
if-
Meatballs 4.
if you Meatballs 4, The Return of Stu.
For the record, David Weinstein says TY denies this. He is on the YouTube comments. This is
Plausible
legend, not
denial.
truth.
Okay.
Statute of
Yeah,
limitations were
I'm-
fine.
Rumors.
I'm substantiated. So the gang. If you're talking about your top culinary moments, and if you plan on calling in, by the way, we want to hear your answer to this question, which is, what are your top culinary moments in movie history? I'm feeling like Stu now is going to mention Fatal Attraction or something like that after his dog story. But
Well,
who
that's
would
a
like?
good one. With
who
the
would like-
rabbit in the soup.
Yeah.
It's a really good one.
Who would like
There's so
to go?
many more than I think people think there are.
Yeah. So what's one you have, Lil?
Well, my first one was when Harry met Sally with the tuna fish, when she fakes the orgasm and Rob
My students
Reiner.
are on the
that
line.
is-
Can we remember? There's high school kids all of a
Your
sudden
students.
here.
I'm
That's
here
an
with my sisters.
educational film.
My
That's a
sisters.
great
So-
movie. That's a classic.
it's
And that's,
educational.
come on, I'll
Everybody
have what
should
she's
see it.
having. Come on. And that's
Right.
the director's mom.
That's
is the
Rob
one saying
Reiner's
that.
mom.
Rob Reiner's on saying that line, which I think
Right.
makes
I'm-
it even funnier.
Okay, that's a good
Still
one.
just saying.
That was my number one. That's the first thing I thought of.
How about you, Beck?
Educational.
Oh, for sure. The scene in Hook, when the Lost Boys are having their make-believe
Oh, that's a great one.
feast, and it's like these giant turkeys and these beautiful, shiny, glossy cakes, and that spread to me is inspiring. Now, I want to follow it up by saying the food fight that happens moments later, I do not like, because I feel like it's too much dirt and dirty hands mixing with gorgeous food, and it always kind of made it feel icky to me.
You're a
So it
foodie
ruined
though, so
Yeah, it
that's
ruined
why.
it.
You're a foodie and you have many phobias associated with the sort of like quality of your food.
Yeah,
Is
that is true. And I also want to point out that Lily says that one of my favorite food moments is in 101 Dalmatians when Broly says, "But I'm hungry, mother. I really am." Broly,
Is
you
that-
just had your
that,
supper.
is that one
Is
of
that
the
when they eat-
dogs? That
Is that
is
what
like
he
one of
eats
the
dogs?
One of the dogs complaining that he needs more food because I'm always just a little bit more
That's
hungry.
literally like
I'm
Becky asking for her
I'm-
second supper.
I'm
all the
never
time.
full.
Josh says Samson loves the Harry Potter feast, the first Harry Potter feast. That's a great choice because I remember hearing about that,
Oh, man.
and I remember hearing about that, reading about it in the book, and I thought they did good justice to that in the movie. What about you, Stu? What's a culinary moment?
You know, it's funny. You're putting my two things together in one spot there. Without a doubt, the hot dog eating competition for meatballs, hands down.
So I rewatched Meatballs in preparation for this episode. That scene is amazing. In fact, while there are some like truly dated, and I think you would agree, objectionable moments in that movie that would not be made today, it has some of the best Bill Murray, like, you know, Bill Murray, almost Oscar winner many times. The hot dog eating speech and the "it just doesn't matter" speech are maybe two of the top 5 Bill Murray moments in any movie he's ever
It
done.
made you very nostalgia for the original Murray, like back in the day Murray.
I think as a kid growing up, Bill Murray in that movie was why I spent so many years at camp. It's that I just always
sweet.
wanted to be Trip. And it was like the brass ring. It was like I could wear the Hawaiian shirt, but I never got to give the inspirational speech.
Oh, well, I'm sure you've given a few.
Now,
Well,
I mean,
you
you
can
have
give
all
one
those high schoolers to give it to.
We'll leave some time at the end of today for you to give an inspirational speech. So mine and my uncle Mario, who also a former TY alumni who's watching on YouTube, mine is 100% the food fight in Animal House. When John Belushi, for the first time, I remember seeing this for my first time, and it was a edited for television version because remember they used to air things on TV and you'd tape them and then watch them the next day because you weren't allowed to stay up that late. So I remember John Belushi when he smushes his mouth together and fires whatever that stuff is in his mouth.
It's a donut.
Is it a donut?
I think
don't
it's
know
like
what it is.
I always thought it was like a
cream-filled
donut,
so
like a
gross.
cream.
I thought it was just like a thing, like a handful of margarine.
Ugh.
Ew,
Guess
no.
what I am now. I'm a zit. And then they yell food fight. The absolute chaos of that movie. It was unlike because every movie I had seen until then that had like the slackers rising up had like a somewhat happy ending, whereas Animal House just has a total chaotic ending where like almost nothing good happens. And the food fight is really part of that, and I really enjoy that scene. So anyone else want to mention any? Oh, I also love the dehydrated pizza in Back to the Future.
That is true.
Brilliant.
In Back to the Future 2,
we've discussed that before on this pod.
It's very important.
Is that like tiny little pizza and they come in, who's gonna eat all that food? And then like bing, and it's
and
like
you're watching it and you're like, but it's so tiny. How could it get bigger?
And it's
you put it in the microwave.
And it's like every topping
huge.
imaginable. We need that technology right now. Now.
Oh, actually, this would be great for right now.
What we need now is the
Ooh,
replicator.
shy. AJ
the
Fries.
replicator.
Hold on. AJ Fries on our YouTube chat just said Avengers eating shawarma is culinary gold. And don't you have that in your notes?
AJ Fries, that is one of my other moments. You're right on. Stu, you're teaching these kids well.
I got it's actually AJ Freed. I don't know where the fries thing comes from.
Well, that's his YouTube.
It's his
maybe his
moniker.
YouTube
Maybe he
name.
wanted to be anonymous. If it's a guy, is it a guy?
I think it's a guy. I think you probably spelled his name wrong.
Maybe it's
okay.
Freeze. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. I don't know.
So now you, as the kitchen executive, right? There's the food service executive at camp.
Executive Director of Food Service Operations.
Executive Director of Food Service Operations. Were you actually the cook yourself? Because next we're going to talk about famous film and movie chefs. Did you cook things yourself or did you outsource?
I came up as a cook, but I cook so little at camp now. I'm down to like 2 or 3 things that I will make, and not even them. Like
what are those? So what are your specialties? Like, are you a chillent guy? Are you and get into the recipe for us. We need the details.
The 2 things that are Stu Stein recipes at camp here in the 2020s. I am I'm the maker of the Sloppy Joe. And what people don't realize about Sloppy Joe at camp, it's to tell you who to Sloppy Joe. It's got its own thing going on.
Okay.
Number 1 is it's got a 3-to-1 ground beef to barbecue to baked beans ratio. You open up a can of baked beans for every like 10 pounds of ground beef you put
Oh
in.
my God, my mouth is watering. I can't.
So
I'm like
is this more-
salivating.
is this like
I'm
a
actually
sweet-
mouth is
Is this like a
salivating.
sweet sloppy Joe? Like
It
on the
is,
sweeter
'cause-
sauce?
Because then the other thing that you throw in is barbecue sauce. Some people will just do
Ah.
ketchup. We do barbecue sauce, and it's got its own thing going on.
Sorry.
Because I would,
You're watching us.
I would replay that. That's the kind of thing that
That's-
you need to have on a
You're
loop.
welcome.
I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that. The other
Pounds of
thing,
barbecue sauce.
the other thing that I make that I'm actually proud of myself for, it's I brought it back. When I was a camper, strawberries and cream was a thing Saturday nights.
Oh,
And
I remember
then-
that.
Oh yeah.
And then I left for a little while, and it had disappeared, and I brought it back. And
Okay.
it's most people, they don't know what is the cream, and I can't release that kind of information to the public. You want to know
Okay.
how to make strawberries and cream, you've got to work at TY
But-
this summer.
But it's healthy. There's protein in it.
Oh, there's absolutely protein in
There's
it.
some
Yeah.
vitamins. We have a couple
Noah,
more.
wait, Noah Wilker says, I never miss a Stu Sloppy Joe day. They're actually my favorite Sloppy Joes ever made. He knows that it's a thing.
That is true because Noah Wilker has the palate of a 12-year-old. So, in fact, that is
Right
why
up
he
his
still works
alley.
at camp, because he only eats during the summer mac and cheese, grilled cheese, sloppy Joe.
Oh,
While
man.
we're-
I
while we're
love
talking about camp
grilled
food,
cheese.
While we're doing camp food, I just want to do a quick sidebar shout out to my group of girlfriends from when I was at camp, because I always felt like we came up with the best camp food hacks of like mashing weird things together and like mixing ingredients and like and then of course the famous melting cheese in hot water and pouring it over chips to make your own nachos, like those kinds of things. Now looking back on it, kind of gross, but at the time my group of girlfriends, Lindsay, Rachel, Alana, Lisa, we really knew how to work with what the kitchen was giving us.
What's nice is today people don't need the hacks because we've actually hacked things for them.
Yes.
I mean, you can attest to this, Becky. We have a
20 years later.
Right,
Exactly.
but
I'm
look
talking
what we have now. We have a poke bar.
A poke bar.
We have a poke bar.
Yeah,
Poke
they have
bar.
really
Jesus.
they've got like really they've upped
So,
the food game at TY.
Mary
Big
Stone
time.
Tesler just commented on exactly what I was thinking, using hot water to melt cheese,
Oh, yeah. I
Grilled
remember
cheese
doing
hack.
that.
Right, isn't it?
which makes me like sick to my stomach to think about that I did that now. But then it just seems so reasonable and delicious.
Yes.
Also, our mom is just blowing up the comments. Mom has
course.
repeatedly talked about Zohan with the hummus.
Oh,
Are there hummus, like Mediterranean themed dishes at camp? It is a Jewish camp.
Funny, you should mention that. Saturday night, which used to be the worst meal of the week. Can we agree on that?
Oh,
Saturday
yeah.
night,
Oh, God.
right?
I mean,
Tuna, egg salad.
terrible. All
fruit
very
soup.
cold.
Because of Shabbat.
Yep. Now we have a poke bar. We have a Mediterranean bar on Saturday nights.
Unbelievable.
Oh, so schmancy.
Hummus, hummus that we do seed-free so that the seed-free allergy kids can have it. We've got matbucha, we've got Turkish salad, we've got baba ganoush, we've got, since it's Mediterranean, we've got some Italian stuff, some tortellini salads, and we've got Jeremy Gross, who worked for us a couple years ago. I'm not sure where he falls in your age brackets there. Jeremy Gross stole a recipe from a famous chef in Philadelphia, brought it to us, that we have now just made year after year after year. It's this eggplant salad, this twice fried eggplant salad. I can go pull it out of my fridge if you want. I've got some I can show it to you. It is ridiculously good, and so Saturday night is like a thing now.
So, a slight update for our audience: those who would like to call in, we do in fact have a call-in number. If you got a message that the meeting hasn't started, that's because you've got to call 312-626-6799, and then the meeting ID is 349-858-022.
Are we ready to start taking callers?
We are ready to start taking callers. We actually have our first caller right now. The caller that we have right now, Stu, this is a legend of my era. and I believe he's in the room right now. I'm unmuting him, and he is also a former kitchen dude. And we've got on our phone the legend Jay Katsir. Jay, are you here? Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys.
Oh, awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got Jay Katsir, former kitchen guy from camp, Parsha Players legend. First, do you have anything you want to say to Stu before Stu? Do you have anything you want to say to Stu before we get started here?
Well, Stu obviously is an icon of both kitchen and comedy, and the combination of kitchen and comedy that's unique to TY. So, and that was true when I was a camper there, and it continues to be true today. So it's an honor to participate here.
Appreciate that.
That's all. And in your kitchen days, did you have a signature dish?
They didn't let me do anything that involved cooking. I was like one of the 4 people assigned to the dishwasher, and I was the lowest on the 4-person ladder. I like designated myself the floater, which meant that I would like pass pitchers back and forth to people on either side of the dishwasher, and occasionally I would throw them across the kitchen and accidentally hit people in the head. It was really one of the best times of my life.
Best job in the kitchen right there is throwing the pitchers.
Now I recall that there was a thing about who controlled the music in the kitchen, that like when people were setting up. Do you remember that? Like I remember there was a rule that if you touched the CD player, like Gindis would cut your hand off. Do you remember that as well?
Yes, it was Gindis was in charge, and it was always whatever the equivalent of whatever was closest to hardcore rap was at the time. Which was important as part of our Jewish and Zionist education.
And with that in mind, let's talk cooking. Let's get your thoughts on some of these food things. As Lily is holding up now the correct phone number. Sorry about that. We knew something was going to go wrong here, but now we've got the right phone number in there.
Have I been posting the wrong number?
It was my fault, but we're good now. And so I'm going to post it. And what about, do you have a favorite culinary moment, Jay?
From TY?
Or just life, movies?
Oh, culinary moment from movies? Yes. I think that my TY movie culinary moments unite, because my TY favorite culinary moment is, of course, the weekly splooge serving, which also brings me to my favorite movie culinary moment, which is the Barfarama from Stand By Me.
Oh, the Barfarama. You were one of the most literary, well-read kids I knew, and had read all of the. This is a big divider between us. We were both afraid of many things, but by like 9, you had read every Stephen King novel, and I couldn't even look at the covers without getting nightmares. So, well, Jay, it's so great to have you here. Do you have a favorite movie pop culture chef?
Yeah, I think, I have young kids, and occasionally, and they actually ask for this, which is great. We'll watch some Swedish Chef clips, and we are happy to both pass on the Muppets to the next generation and vaguely anti-Swedish sentiment to the next generation.
Is there a lot of anti-Swedish sentiment in the country that I'm not aware of? Like,
I mean, just from the. I feel like the Swedish Chef isn't. If I were Swedish, I wouldn't want that to be, the representative of my culture in the United States.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of good like Vikings TV shows that we talk about on this show, and I feel like those are doing a good job. Josh Crew is always recommending a Viking show. He comes on a regular basis, either a Viking show or a show that my mom watches. Those are the two things Josh comes to recommend on the show. What have you been watching during this quarantine period? You got anything special you've been watching?
I've been watching my mind deteriorate. It's been a great show. I'm binging it.
All right, Jay, it's so great. Thank you so much for calling in. People who want to call in, the correct number is 312-626-6799. Then you got to put in a special code. That special code is 349-858-022. And Jay Katsir, a great camp alum. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna now
Radio Shy.
Wait, Shy, can I ask Jay a question before?
Oh yeah, please. Yeah.
Shy, I'm sorry, Jay, are you still working for Colbert?
I am, yeah.
So how do my 25 BMB high school kids that are on the YouTube channel right now get internships with you guys over there?
I think that you have to be in college because I'm pretty sure that that's generally the rule, not always the rule. And then you can apply on the CBS web portal. I think a lot of the information is there. So I don't have it with me right now, but I think it's very direct, and you send your application in that way. And I think if you know somebody who works there, then they can, give you a reference. That's the other helpful thing.
So there you have it, BMB kids. You see, you tuned in, you get something useful out of this.
Jay, one more quick question. How did you call in? Because I'm getting messages saying that other people can't. Is it because you're already in?
It's because they've used the wrong number, and I was able to give him the right number.
Lily, how you doing?
Interesting.
I'm all right. In quarantine.
I hear you. I hear you're also hosting.
Hosting.
Of our parents. Yes,
my parents got stranded here on a deserted island with me in my apartment. They could not fly home, so they live with me now, and that's hilarious. And probably the making.
And they both have crazy gray hair, and when they appear on FaceTime together, you have to do a double take to figure out which is which.
I can always tell them apart because mom's hair is shinier.
Dad's has been gray longer. All right, Jay, it was great having you here.
Thanks, Jay.
This is great. Thanks for having me.
Later.
Take care, Jay.
Bye. Bye.
All right. Hopefully we'll get some more callers, but there you have it. Jake, it's here. Stu, we were right at your favorite movie, or anybody here's favorite movie chefs and culinary people.
I mean, there's only one answer for that, and it's got to be Chef from South Park.
Oh, wow. Isaac Hayes, because he had some sweet tunes.
And giving out good life advice to the kids.
All right. We got a couple more callers. So before we get to our next answer, caller with the number, you have a Philadelphia area code. Is this one of our relatives? Who's this?
They're muted.
They're on mute, and I'm going to unmute them, I think. Yeah, caller.
Sweet tunes and giving out good life advice to the kids.
There, you got to mute. You got to mute the broadcast in your background, whoever that is. 9876.
Number you have a Philadelphia area code.
All right. When you unmute yourself.
I love our podcast.
I'll
listen to it again.
Got to put the live stream on mute.
Yeah, you got to put the live stream on mute if you're calling in. I'm going to now go to our other caller. We got another caller. Caller with the 510 area code. You are unmuted and live. Hopefully you don't have the stream playing in the background either. Are you there? Caller with a 510 area code.
Oh, that would be Cousin Vanessa. Can you hear me?
Cousin Vanessa. All right. So if you're a regular listener of our podcast, for the first year and a half, we signed off every episode with a shout out to the Cousin Vanessa. The great Cousin Vanessa has called in from you're very close to Becky, but also locked down in Berkeley.
So close yet so far
so
away.
So close and so far away. But I will say that I know I miss you too, Beck. And she dropped off a frozen challah dough on already braided, ready to go on Friday. It was like a Shabbat miracle.
Just threw it at you. It was frozen, so
left
it
on the
It.
porch.
Yeah.
It was perfect. Thank you for that.
So Vanessa, you want to get in on our conversation here with the guests? We're talking about our favorite movie chefs and culinary moments.
Well, the culinary moment, I don't know if you saw that I just commented on YouTube. I'm having a little not very tech savvy, so bear with me. I mean, all of a sudden I have to teach over the internet, which is going to be challenging too.
Another teacher. We got a fellow educator here.
Yeah, but I'm elementary school, so we are like mostly Google Classroom. We do, it's just going to be a steep learning curve for us. But in any case, I posted about Lady and the Tramp, the spaghetti scene. That was like my first moment.
That was in the mix. We had talked about that. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Not today.
And then
I don't think we talked about it. Yeah, we talked about it
on the episode.
Yes,
but
that's a great
I I loved that movie so much as a kid, and I remember just loving that scene too, because who wants? I mean, it'd be fun to try. I wanted to like try it out with my friends, like each of us eat a piece of spaghetti on either side.
right.
I also took it very literally and went into like movies that like drama movies, like Water for Chocolate or Eat, Pray, Love, that all are centered around food. But
Emotional eating.
Those are good ones. Those are
very
good ones.
emotional.
Those are good
Very
ones. All
appropriate
movies that
right
I've
now.
never wanted to see. All movies that my mom is like, you gotta see, like Water for Chocolate. I'm like, no.
Oh, these are straight up Fanny movies. She would love every movie that I have on
and
my list.
Chocolat, right?
Oh, I
Yes,
do like
Chocolat,
I do
Julie and
like
Julia.
Chocolat. I like that.
That's
one.
on the list. We have that on
I
our
haven't- I
on
haven't-
our
I
on our
haven't.
show notes.
But Becky, this one's for you, Julie and Julia, because I know you're into cooking. So Julia Child, that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Although I feel like in that
Or the-
movie she's kind of mean. Is
I
that-
don't like
Julia
no,
Child.
no, Julia.
Yeah.
No,
One
the
of them. I
Julia.
remember being
The-
disappointed.
the
in that
Amy
movie.
Adams. The
I
good
remember
Julia.
worrying that if I lived that life, I would have terrible heartburn like her husband does throughout the whole movie.
Stu,
It's
have
just
you
like
seen
she
the
cooks
Julia
something and
Child
he
movie?
pops antacids. Yeah, that's like my one takeaway from it was how many antacids he has to eat to get through that cookbook. And it made
Stu-
me a little anxious.
Stu, have you seen a Julia Child movie?
I have. I saw. I'm surprised that a woman with a voice that annoying could make such a long career out of teaching people things on television.
That's fair. All right,
There wasn't
cousin
a lot of
Vanessa.
choices back then.
Cousin Vanessa, we got to get you out because we have like a huge line of callers now, which is amazing.
Okay, great to talk to
We
you guys.
love you
Sending
so
my
much.
love.
Love you.
Thank
Love
you
you
for
guys.
calling.
All right,
Love you.
bye.
Bye.
I know Tamar's trying to call in, Shy, but
Okay, well,
she
hopefully-
says that it says the meeting has not started.
She's using the wrong number. Okay, so we
I-
just let somebody into the call, and that person has a last four numbers of their phone number is 4270, and they look like they're from New Jersey. Who's that calling from New Jersey? Just unmuted you.
Stu knows exactly who this is.
Ah,
What a surprise!
Yes.
Monkey Boy, my arch nemesis.
Yeah. Just calling in to say you're making a ruckus, Stu. So if you could please just keep it down, that'd be great.
I'll keep it down when you get me my kayak. If
All
anyone
right.
doesn't
Yeah,
know,
Kevin, we're-
for anyone that
We
doesn't
watched
know,
this web series.
do not air our dirty laundry in public, please. Okay, sir?
oh, it's
Please.
it's too
We
late
will
for
talk
that.
about this. We will talk about this in the privacy of our own phone call. Okay.
You need to understand something, TV people. You see, Monkey Boy and I have a long-standing relationship, going back to the first Persian Gulf War, where I gave up my safety and life to sacrifice. I sacrificed to protect him. He was just a wee little school child, and I protected him at school and then fed him for years. And after 20 years of service and dedication to the Jewish people in Camp Tel Yehuda, he can't get me a simple thank you kayak. So Monkey Boy, I say good day to you, sir.
A little-
Hang up on him now.
A little background information, just to let you know what he's talking about at the beginning of that. I went to Reuben Gittleman Hebrew Day School, Solomon Checker School. His mom was
In
the
Rivervale, New
administrator there.
Jersey. In Rivervale, New Jersey.
Well, I grew up in Riverdale. Solomon Checker, it was in Rockland. I can't remember where it was at that point because I hopped
Okay.
around to a couple of buildings. But
I would never go to
we,
New Jersey.
during the Gulf War, they were like, "Don't worry, we're going to hire security to protect your kids, and everything's going to be fine." And what
That's right.
security entailed was an angry, like 19-year-old Stu Stein in a camo jacket,
This is
sleeping
not true.
behind a desk.
Is
Yes,
this
swear to God,
true?
Sleeping, behind the
100%
desk.
true.
No.
One of my first
sleeping
jobs.
behind the desk.
You
behind
were
the front
going to
door.
scare them with jokes?
No, with the camouflage jacket.
Always
Blend
looked
into the
angry.
Jewish
Yeah.
high
Always
school?
looked angry.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All
He was
right.
a curmudgeon even back then.
The great musician Noach Wilker is here. You did your own live Facebook event with TY, which was like
I
a
did, yeah.
huge hit. I'm
Yeah.
like looking at the difference between our numbers and yours, and I'm just not even going to mention them. Do you have a
That was a fun night.
Do you have a culinary moment you want to mention before we get you out? We got a few more callers.
A culinary moment from like a movie. I know I
Yeah,
can tell
or
you my
life.
favorite culinary like movie chef person. that I do.
Yeah,
Hit us with
exactly.
that.
Without question, and it's because I genuinely have a man crush on him. I think he's one of my favorite actors. Actually, I'm going to give. I have the
Bradley
moment too.
Cooper.
I'll tell you that one in a second. Is Christopher Maloney in Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh.
As a chef.
Oh, yeah,
that's
I-
fair.
of course.
That's fair.
I
Yeah.
absolutely love him. He's one of my favorite actors in general, and he's just one of those guys that can hop between drama and comedy with absolutely no problem, and he's just particularly funny.
Yeah.
If you've never seen his episode of Scrubs, y'all should, because it's probably one of the funnier episodes. But when it comes to a moment, this is going to be a weird moment. My favorite movie, one of my favorite movies is Batman, the Michael Keaton version.
1989
Michael Keaton
Batman.
Batman.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, 89 Batman.
Oh, when they're
And the
eating at the
scene
long
where
eating at
him
the
and Kim
table.
Basinger at the long table, and she
At the
goes,
long too.
"Can you
The
pass the salt?" Yeah,
Salt.
and he walks
Yeah.
over and he gives him the salt, and then she goes, "Do you eat in here often?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I do." He's like, "Actually, I don't think I've ever eaten in here before." It's my favorite. It's one of my
That's
favorite.
a great
dinner
moment.
type.
Keaton was the best Batman. Stu, do you have any?
Without
I'm gonna
question.
say like Adam West because that was when you were a kid.
The only one I've ever seen is Adam West.
Oh, okay.
I keep hearing them talk about other people that played Batman. I can't find those episodes.
All right, Noah. It's so great that you called in. We love
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Love you guys. Talk
All
to you
right,
later.
I'm gonna grab another caller, and then Tio Mario wants to know if he's still. Oh, that was Tio Mario. Okay, yeah, yes, he is still in line for a call. I knew I recognized that phone number. All right, Tio Mario. Hopefully the audio has been sorted out. You are now unmuted. Tio Mario, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you
This
guys
is-
doing?
This is our uncle, also a camp alum, a recent guest on the podcast. He did the if you follow the show, he did the Spanish language TV commercials for us, and we talked about Nazi hunting.
That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I still have nightmares. Stu, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good,
I
Mario.
remember
How are you?
From that adult
Yes.
weekend in camp.
Yep, we had a good time.
That sounds weird.
That sounds
Oh,
a
they had
little
a
Say
weird.
that way.
That sounds weird said that way.
Yeah, that's because everybody in the bunk had sleep apnea, and I thought they were dying. You have everybody 65 and older, and they were snoring, and then they would stop, and nothing. And I actually thought someone was going to die in that bunk.
It's a good commercial for camp.
So Tio, before we
Yes.
get you out here, you were in camp in the 1970s, and
Yes.
what was like the premier food? What was like the big moment food?
Oh God, it was pretty bad back then. But I
come a
think
long way.
whenever they had French toast, the chalk was there. When we did a barbecue, that was the premier time. It's nothing like it is now. When we were there for the weekend this past summer, Stu did an amazing job. The food was great, actually. It really was. I was so surprised.
I
The
have
bunks
to-
really
I have to tell you,
sucked,
we've got a
but the food
great.
was
I'm sorry, we just have a great team. It's not just me. I mean, I get to take a lot of the bows and the accolades, but I mean, we've got a great team of kids and of professional chefs. Sam Sheps, Peter. Peter's got a last name. I'm just blanking on it right now. Jaron Deegan, Jeremy Gross. And we've got a team of real culinary professionals. And the kids we have, it's a mix of Judeans and it's a mix of kids that come over from Poland and from Mexico that work with our kids. And it's just really is a great team that really put food and kids first.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
it was special. It was really good.
All right,
It was really
thank you,
good.
thank you, Tio, for calling in. You're one of our great inspirations and one of our great watchers of movies. So
You guys are doing a great job. Love you.
love
Can't
you.
wait.
Love
Tia Jen
you.
just walked in. She wants to say hi. Hi,
Oh,
guys.
she's the
Hi,
best.
Tia Jan.
Love you, Tia
You're live
Jan.
on the
All right.
internet.
Oh, hello,
They're just
everybody.
talking. They can't see
All
you.
right, love
Okay.
you. Bye.
Love you.
Love
Bye.
you.
Okay.
Bye.
First, we got a shout out for Isabel Joseph, the TY registrar. Man, that's got to be an intense job. You're dealing with every single camper and parent. Isabel Joseph. She also mentioned Saturday night food, and we just want to give a big thank you and a shout out to her. And speaking of TY staff and teams, it's amazing, Stu, when you were talking about the
Saturday night food, and
Ooh.
we just want
Hey, David,
That's
you
a-
gotta mute your background there. David Weinstein, director of camp, is now on the line. David, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here with Mika Itkin Weinstein and Amy Itkin.
Hi.
Oh wow, the whole
Hello.
family.
Hi.
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 So it's great to have you here. Do you also take credit for Stu's success at camp?
I take credit. I was Stu's Marquez back in
Which is
Oh,
for those
wow.
listening at home who went to less Jewish summer camp than us, it's like a head counselor, a unit head of a particular age group.
And I'll say this about Stu, and I've said this to many people over the years, and it's the same is true of me. We were both campers who were just on the verge of getting kicked out of camp for being awful. And look at us now. Here we are. We have succeeded. That's the testament to patience with the bad kids.
And what about you, David? Did you have a favorite culinary film or television moment or movie chef?
I do. So my family, we've been holed up for the past couple of weeks like everybody else, and we're doing 3 to 4 hours of The Sopranos every night. And all we think about is Paul Sorvino cutting that garlic in Goodfellas. There's not a better.
That's a great scene.
Razor.
All right.
And Mika's got one too.
Oh, Mika, hit it.
I really keep thinking about Kiki's delivery service. And she bakes all the bread, and it's just like very beautiful. It's just like a good moment, good movie, food movie.
Wait, I don't know this movie.
What?
Tell us more about this movie. This is a big recommendation. You got to
It's a
tell us.
Miyazaki. It's a Japanese movie.
Oh,
it's an English. I think
Miyazaki.
Kristen Dunst does the English version.
Yeah.
Kiki's Delivery Service, it's a classic, big recommend, and also just like really beautiful food illustration.
Nice.
And it's like this baker and this little girl, she delivers food on her broomstick, and it's just like, it's very wholesome. And the food looks good.
Wow.
Thank you. I
That's
love
great.
getting
Great recommendation.
facts.
I'm a big Totoro fan. I like that movie a lot. The Cat Bus.
You'll love Kiki's.
Okay. And Miss, who's following us on YouTube, she says that she loves Goodfellas too, by the way. So you guys are playing well for the crowd. Hey, David, thank you for all you do for camp. I know how hard you work to build an incredible experience for kids that will last them a lifetime. And thanks for calling in. We really appreciate it.
And thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you. This is awesome.
Thanks for
All right.
having us.
All right. We love you. Bye.
Love you, Corman.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
And Stu.
Okay, so we're now gonna wow, this is almost, we still got a couple more callers, but I want to get to our signature game. So on Friday Night Movie, which you can follow at FridayNightMoviePod.com, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, like and subscribe on all of the places you can get podcasts, Spotify, iTunes. We have a game that's like the game that started it all for us, and that game is Buy, Rent, Meh. And Buy, Rent, Meh is essentially the rating systems for all things for our show. If movies are either buy, rent, or meh. And when you play the official game of Buy, Rent, Meh, we present you 3 choices, and you must classify each of those choices with one of those categories. And those categories, so if we give you 3 things, one's got to be buy, one's got to be rent, and one's got to be meh. Buy is something that you would buy, add to your iTunes collection. I don't know if anybody buys movies anymore, but we still do in our family quite a lot. So
it just represents that you would be willing to spend money on it.
Yeah, you'd be willing to spend money on it. Rent would be stream it, and meh can have multiple different reactions can represent multiple different reactions. It can be like a meh, or it can be like a meh. Right. So depending on how you classify that third thing. And so with that, we're going to play a little Buy, Rent, Meh on some famous food-based things in movies. And we're going to first start with food-based characters. Okay. So food-based characters, you've got Pizza the Hut. And I tried to pick things that I assumed Stu had seen. Or
From
he
the
watched
60s or the 50s.
Yeah. So, or he watched all of these. And so number one is, in food-based characters, Pizza the Hut from Spaceballs, State Puffed Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters, and the Gingerbread Man from Shrek. Who would like to start with Buy, Rent, or Meh here? Who's ready?
I am. I think it's pretty easy with Stay Puft because it's just so iconic, and it was such a big deal when that thing just you kind of wanted to really be there and get all that marshmallow on you, even though it was supposed to be this like awful event. And it's just so iconic, and that movie is just the best. And then I would say Pizza the Hut. I don't really like either one of those guys, Pizza the Hut or the gingerbread man. I find the gingerbread super annoying, and I don't really get the rules. I feel like he gets eaten sometimes, and then he reappears. I just want him to get eaten. He's like my least favorite in Shrek. And then Pizza the Hut, I thought was so gross when I was a kid, and it's
Yeah,
great
he's
because
super
Jabba
gross.
is so gross, and
Okay.
Jabba is based on Jabba
Very-
the Hutt.
Okay.
He's so
All right.
gross.
Doesn't Pizza the Hut die by eating himself?
He ate himself to death.
He
Ugh,
Yeah.
it's so
He ate
gross.
himself to death.
And that guy
Such a
is
great
like,
concept.
chewing on it.
him.
Yeah. I'm gonna buy Stay Puft because I want to eat Stay Puft.
You do a
No,
little bit.
no, actually, you know what? No, I'm changing it. I'm gonna buy Gingerbread Man because I love gingerbread. I love a ginger snap. I love a gingerbread man. I like ginger molasses cookies. So I'm gonna buy Gingerbread Man. I'm gonna rent Stay Puft because I would like all that marshmallow to fall on me and taste it, but it seems like it would be sticky. And then I have to admit Pizza the Hut because it still makes me gag, however funny that character is.
I'm in line with Shy. I concur.
Now, how about you, Stu?
It's funny that you guys mentioned wanting the marshmallow to fall on you, because I distinctly remember when Ghostbusters was made, seeing an ad in the paper that they wanted extras for this movie with Bill Murray.
Get out.
I kid you not. I kid you not. I begged my mother to take me to New York City so that I could have marshmallow dumped on me.
Please tell me you were in Ghostbusters, and now we can spend.
I was in the theater when it played.
Well, close enough.
I remember being in the theater when it played, and that librarian scene still terrifies me.
I don't go in the library because of that scene, and
Neither
because
does
of the
Shy.
large
Guys,
number
maybe
of
that's
books.
why I don't like books. Okay, so we've got a caller from New Jersey. Hopefully they've
Okay,
muted
this is
the
me.
program in the background.
It's a
Is
Rothstein.
Is this Tamar Rothstein?
Yeah, I'm here.
So one of the great camp family dynasties are the Rothsteins, dating back multiple generations. Our parents all went to camp together. And
Yeah, my mom is sitting right next to me right now.
oh, wait, so Evie's there too?
Evie. Ah, hey Evie.
Hi, hi.
This is amazing.
And your mom knows my wife, so there's even more.
This is
levels of separation.
this is a Jewish event if there ever was one.
Stu, I think I remember when I was in MH or MT, I forget when, and I think Lily, were you with me that summer?
For sure. Yeah.
With Molly Leaf. I don't know. We
Yeah.
went to some carnival with Lisa and Stu, and that was like the night everything sparked.
That is the
Yes.
original, the oldest picture of Lisa and I together is from that night.
Get
Wow.
out. That's amazing.
That's so romantic. Okay, Tamar, you're an advanced listener of the podcast and friend, so I'm gonna throw you into Buy Rent May. That's what you're gonna play with us. Are you ready to play?
I am ready to play. Do I have to come up with my own, or you have to?
No.
come up
I'm
with
gonna
it?
just put it in front of you, so don't worry. You'll be hopefully.
And I'll choose. Okay.
Hopefully these will make sense. We talked about chefs a lot. I'm gonna give you 3 film chefs. Remy from Ratatouille. I think that's the rat. I'm not like a big Ratatouille guy. I know that's like
It is the rat. Yes. He's very
Carl John Favreau from that movie Chef. Admittedly, haven't seen
Oh,
it
yeah.
yet. And then Julia Child. So Meryl Streep as Julia Child as your third one. Buy Rent May, these 3 culinary legends.
So I would definitely buy Julia because that was one of the movies I was going to tell you or share earlier. My favorite culinary movie.
But
Okay.
do you think
But
one of them
wait,
is
which-
mean? Don't you feel like one of them, I can't remember which was a little bit mean?
Lily, I feel like you need to go do some research and then get back to us on which one you think was mean. Okay, so you're gonna buy that, but what about the other 2? Where are you gonna put the rat? Where are you putting the rat? I'm
So
May. The rat,
I'm-
by the way. I don't want to rat.
I'm gonna say meh for Chef and Rent for Ratatouille.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. What about your
Okay.
mom? Does she want to weigh in on anything here?
I don't think she's seen any of those movies.
Okay.
Oh yeah, she saw Julia, so she'll do all 3.
Oh, okay.
I
Does
don't think she doesn't understand the question, so we're just gonna move on.
okay. All right. Tamar, do you have any questions for Stu?
I do. What you might have talked about this earlier. What was that food? I can't remember. It was served like after Shabbat or like
Strawberries
Friday
and
night dinner.
cream.
It was, yeah.
Strawberries and
But we
cream.
had We had a nickname for it.
There was a nickname. I refused to use that nickname.
Noah Wilker used it earlier. You're just gonna have to like roll back through the tape.
Yeah.
None of the four grown adults on this program right now are gonna repeat it.
And
I
Noah
definitely
Wilker being a
liked
12-year-old.
It was a nice treat.
Everyone loves it.
Tamar, we love you. We love your
Thank
family.
you so much,
Thank you
Tamar.
for
We love
calling
you.
Love
in.
you, Tamar.
I miss you guys. Stay healthy. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Okay, that is it for callers, and we are not done yet, but we are nearing the end of the show. This is the part of the show where we talk about our recommendations and our shout outs, things we've been watching that we want people to check out, or things that we've been watching that we want you to avoid. Quarantine has given us a lot of opportunity to watch a lot of stuff. So, Becky, how about you? What have you been watching, and what do you recommend?
Okay, so real talk, I don't have a ton of free time to watch stuff as I am caring for two tiny children and working and trying to catch sleep here and there. But as I have a newborn, so as I've been feeding her throughout the day and night, I have been rewatching all of Schitt's Creek from the beginning.
Wow,
and
it's
it
like a
is
gift.
pure joy.
So good.
Pure joy. And if we're talking about culinary themed movies and TV, I just really want to go eat at Cafe Tropical and see, what's it really like, so I can recommend rewatching that. Are we also doing shout outs right now? Or
Yeah,
just
Rex and shout outs.
I
together.
wanted
I don't
give
know
a
if you noticed over the last like 30 episodes of the show, I've condensed them into one.
Okay. I want to do huge shout out to all the people on the YouTube channel that are like lighting up the comments. We have Emily Rosenberg, Emily Yuck. We have AJ Fries, Leslo, who else? Miss, the crunchy something. I can't find
Crunchy toast.
The crunchy toast. Anyways, you guys are hilarious and amazing and have wonderful taste in movies, and it's just been really fun hearing everything you have to say or reading everything you have to say as we do this. So thank you. That's my big shout out.
Okay, cool. All right, Lilia, over to you. Rex, shout out.
I'm not sure I could wreck my watches because you've told me to watch Watchmen, and I guess there's that like comic book nerd in me that's missing, because I liked it, but I was also like, what the hell, for like 10 episodes. And so the acting is really good. It's really well done. But maybe I was also watching it with Mom, who was like, what? The entire time. So it like makes you extra wondering what's going on, because she's asking you all the time, what's going on? But I guess it was cool. I would watch a second season. So that's a shout out. We also watched a rec, sorry. Shout out to Mom, rec for the show. And I would say that my family has watched Onward twice in 24 hours. So
that movie's amazing.
I'm not gonna like officially say this on the record, but maybe my husband got some tears in his eyes, which I watched it a second time just to like stare at him to see if he would cry.
That's at the top of my recommendations. We just watched Onward. It's available on demand now, and everyone knows we have a family connection. Becky's husband worked on it. Becky's child's name is in the credits.
That movie is a very big part of our lives. That is 3 years at least of our lives in this house dedicated to the making of that film. It's very special to us.
And having seen it, I watched a movie here that I literally don't know how they could have marketed this movie, because it defies expectations, and it's just nothing like anything I've seen, but it's very much in the vein of other things that have been hard to categorize. Like, it reminds me a lot of Troll Hunters. It reminds me a lot of How to Train Your Dragon. It reminds me, and it really has that amazing spirit. While I didn't really understand a lot of the rules of the universe, the movie is about relationships, and it does the best job at doing animated character relationships I've seen in a long time. And so if you're of a family and you want to watch a movie that's going to make you very misty, especially if you miss your siblings a lot like I do, Onward is incredible. I finally saw a fish called, I'm really racking stuff up here. I finally saw A Fish Called Wanda. Don't really get why that movie was a big deal. Granted, that was in the late 80s, early 90s. Did not enjoy it. We're halfway through watching The Missing Link, which is a Leica animated movie. and I'm halfway through this movie from the 90s called Phantoms. I'm really watching just like random stuff, which is Ben Affleck, Rose McGowan, and Peter O'Toole fighting demons. I don't really know, but it's somewhat enjoyable. And then I want to plug 2 live online things that I'm doing. In addition to this show's special live episode, I am working with the amazing Kathy DeToro and Chris Kamsch on Mondays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. live on Facebook page, on Kathy's Facebook page. We are doing just an insane, amazing variety show called Sugar Highway, where Kathy and Chris sing songs, tell jokes, improvise. Chris's elderly dad dances in a green screen suit. It's absolutely bananas, and it is among the most fun things I've been involved in. And then if you know I'm a big Goldbergs fan, the real life Johnny Atkins, later today, John Atkins, you can find him on Facebook, is doing a live fundraiser for Smiley's, a club in his town that he plays at on a regular basis. And I think one of the best things about these streaming events and why we did this live event with TY is this is an opportunity to use those powers for good. And I love seeing other people, musicians and artists who are out of work, who are giving all of their time to help raise money for things. It's really, really amazing. So I love supporting those guys. And over to you, Stu. Any recommendations, any shout outs?
Well, without a doubt, I think everyone should go on to the Belmore Merrick Broadcasting YouTube page and watch It's Not Time Yet, our PSA on why it's not time to stop social distancing. And if you still need guidance on how to social distance, also check out the PSA, How to Social Distance. Because I think those, for the kids that are lighting up the YouTube page right now, they did amazing work on that. You can also check out Luke Melfa's tutorial on how to use Google Classroom. And when you're done with the entire length and breadth of the BMB YouTube page, I saw, I'm sure that you guys probably haven't heard of this. It's a new movie, just came out like a month ago, I think, which for me is new, or maybe 2 months or 6 months ago. But I saw it on a plane, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Which,
oh yeah, the last episode of our podcast is all about that movie.
I'll be honest, I didn't listen to all your podcasts. I just
That's okay.
It's a really long episode. It's
Listen
an
to
hour
all
and a half.
100 and how many episodes do we
158 episodes.
158 episodes in preparation, Stu?
I just showed up and talked. But yeah, if you guys, I enjoyed that movie so much that when I was done watching it, I read up all on the whole Manson thing because I was fascinated by all the different ins and outs of the whole the way they made that movie.
Did you know what happened though when you started watching?
I mean, I knew all the names, but I had no idea of anything. Like, no, I didn't.
Did you know like the true story?
I knew the true story, but not
Okay.
not to the level that I know it now. Like,
Right.
now I got.
But that was one of the things we talked about on the episode, was that it, like, if you know the true story and you're watching it, there's like this tension through the movie. But if people who watch it who never even heard of the real story, it's kind of like a bit missing that tension.
You're like, why are we following these 2 old guys around Hollywood?
Right.
See, but
why is this lady watching a movie?
I didn't see the Manson thing coming until the end because I didn't know that about it. I thought we were just watching 2 old guys trying to rediscover the Hollywood that they're not part of anymore. And then I started picking up these clues as different people started popping up, and I was like, "Whoa!" As the the denouement.
Right.
So, oh, there you go. Well, that's good. I mean, I do recommend people, if you are listening, go back, subscribe, listen to some episodes. The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood episode is great because we had director Mike Roberts and his wife Brie Williamson, who's an actress, come on. They were not in the movie, but they are in film and out in LA, and they gave 2 wildly different perspectives on the movie, and it's really worth checking it out, both the good and the bad of it. This is the point in the show where we ask people where they can be followed, and we sign off. So Becky, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter and on Letterboxd at Paper BK Princess.
And Lily.
First, I just want to shout out to because I didn't get a chance to do my shout outs. I just want to shout out to all the people on Facebook who joined and listened and commented. Noah, Wilker, Vern William, Fanny Corman,
Gabe Samet there.
Mary Stone Tesler. And Gabe Samet's back again.
That's
and
Billy Joyce. Vern. That's Billy Joyce, my first counselor from my first bunk.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah, Vern William Joyce. I remember you. I remember when you had him as your counselor.
Oh yeah.
And just thank
Love
you
you, Billy.
to everyone that listened, came, saw, commented. It's very
Did you say where people can
awesome.
follow you?
Oh, you can follow me, and you can also go back and just listen to our episodes to find out why this is my handle, because I will not be explaining it now. But if you're intrigued, you got to listen to our episodes.
Speaking of explaining things, before we sign off, sorry to interrupt, guys, but we did get the question on the YouTube comments, and I promised we would answer it. Why we are called Friday Night Movie, especially if we're podcasting on a
I'll wrap
Sunday.
up with it at the end. I'll wrap up.
So just
with
make
Well,
sure.
our podcasts are normally released on Fridays.
Okay, but anyways, just try to continue, but make sure to answer that
That's not
before
the
we
reason.
sign off.
So you can follow me, Chichi, ChiChik Gomez, like Gomez Adams, on or Gomez, my husband's last name, on Twitter. It's not my last name, on Twitter and Letterboxd. And you'll just have to listen to the podcast to know why I name myself that.
Stu, where can
regrettably?
we do you want people to follow you, Stu?
Well, I mean, on Facebook, people should absolutely be watching these Stu Stein from the Internet movie series. It's kind of been my thing. I'm trying to just keep sane through the pandemic by making a fun video of the day. I can't release my actual Twitter handle because of all the students that are watching. I do not want to lose my job, but you can follow Belmore Merrick Broadcasting on Twitter to get updates about all the work that the kids are doing as we post it.
That's amazing. And I want to say a huge thanks to Young Judea, to Tzipora Shapiro, who helped make all of this happen, to David Weinstein, to my mom, Fanny. God, always we thank our mom because she takes an enormous amount of abuse on this show normally, but this was her idea for us to do this in partnership with the TY Facebook page. A huge thanks to Stu, our guest, again, for making time to do this. It was so much fun to do this with you. And to everybody who called in, who messaged in. This was so much fun. This is a really special episode. We do release the episodes every Friday, so the full audio of this episode will go out next Friday. Maybe the video will pop up sooner though, or it'll live on Facebook for a while. I'm not 100% sure. I'm still figuring out the video stuff. And the name of the podcast comes from the fact that when we were teenagers, every single week, Lily, Becky, and I would go to the movies on Friday nights with our parents, and we'd have Shabbat dinner and then head to the movies. And then you could go out and you could have plans with your friends, but you had to do dinner and a movie. And we did that all the way through our college years. And it's a huge bonding thing for us. And it's one of the reasons why we always talk about movies. You can follow me at Pancake4Table. That's pancake and the number 4 table on Twitter and Instagram and on Letterboxd. You can follow Friday Night Movie at Fry Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram. And you can go to our website, FridayNightMoviePod.com. Please subscribe. Please review us. It's a huge help when we get those big 5-star reviews. Helps us get searched and found by all sorts of new people. We have a theme song, which you won't hear live, but when you hear on the re-listen, it is by What Does It Eat? And with that, I think the episode's done. Thank you guys for doing this. Bye. I love you. We always end with I love you.
Love you.
Thanks
Thank
so
you
much,
so much,
Stu.
folks.
Thanks, Stu.
I love
And thanks
you guys,
everyone
too.
for joining us.
I'm going to
Super
kill all
cool
the various
today.
web streams. And thank you again to Tell Yehuda and Young
Thanks.
Judea for this amazing opportunity.
Thank you.
This was a lot of fun.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You guys have to just kind of hold still while I end the streams here.